when
I met that girl right up at my show. Left her man in the crowd on the floor.
Hi guys, it's Yasmin here, and for today's video I am going to be painting some plant pots that I got from the store yesterday. The pots that they're in right now aren't big enough, so today I'm just going to be decorating them and then also putting them in their new home. It's just going to be a sit with me while decorate type of chat, so let's get started. So the first topic I wanted to talk about is toxic traits. In a previous video I got paint on my nail. I have talked about how therapy has showed me my toxic traits and how to recognize them and to just I've been struggling a lot with realizing some of the toxic traits that I have, and there's a lot of them. I've realized that I don't take criticism very well. I don't like being told that I'm wrong about something, and then when I'm proven wrong I feel like the most idiotic person ever. I can be also hypocritical sometimes with certain things. And you know, I try not to get down on myself about it or be too hard on myself about it, because there are definitely things that a lot of human beings have. Envy, jealousy, they're like total normal emotions, but just it doesn't make me feel good to know that I have these emotions and I don't necessarily know how to stop them. Of course I realize them. I understand that I have them. I think the issue is that I just don't know how to be above that, if that makes sense. There's actually this one episode in BoJack Horseman. If you haven't watched that show, I highly recommend it. It's so good. This is like my 4th time watching the whole entire series. There's this one episode where BoJack's talking to someone, I forgot exactly who, but he said something along the lines of, just because you recognize you're an asshole doesn't make you any less of an asshole. It makes a lot of sense, because you see a lot of people who are like, yeah, I know that I'm this and that, and they get praised and they're looked at as being self-reflective and things like that, but what does that do? I think life is all about just trying to be a better person and not letting the little things in life get to you, because at the end of the day, a lot of the stuff that we get riled up about and the things that we have issues about aren't really going to matter at the end. When I come to that conclusion, it makes me realize the things that I may get upset about or the things that I have trouble with aren't that big of a deal. But on the flip side, that doesn't mean that I get to just be an asshole to everybody, you know, and not try to be a better person. I think living life as kindly as you can and treating people with kindness and treating yourself with kindness, I think that's a good way to go in life and go about in life. Just living as peacefully and as loving as possible. Next thing I want to talk about is school. I'm sure a lot of you guys are also going to school. This year is definitely a lot different because it's online classes instead of in-person classes. Some of you may not know, but I graduated high school back in 2018, and for the last 2 years I've been working up until recently as like everybody else. I lost my job and I've been on unemployment since. It's not the best thing in the world. I'm definitely more so of a working type of lady, but definitely taking this time to go to school and getting back into routines is definitely helping me a lot, and I'm very appreciative that the unemployment that I have is allowing me the time and money and energy to take the time to go to school and to make YouTube videos like this, because if I was doing all 3 at once, I don't know how I would be living. The first week of school was definitely stressful for me. Just learning how to get back into that routine was definitely a struggle. This week was definitely easier, I would say. I started getting a routine running, which I'm very grateful for. First one done. It's so cute. Life has just been weird lately. Not even just the pandemic. I mean, I guess it is just the pandemic. Honestly, these last couple of weeks I've definitely been enjoying time with myself and noticing a lot of good changes in my life in terms of spirituality and manifesting. And I've been noticing the way that I've been keeping routines in my day-to-day life. I haven't been slacking with that. I've been doing yoga and meditating every day, and that has definitely helped me keep sane through all this insanity. Can we talk about how crazy the political scene is right now? I've never thought that this country will come to the way that it is right now. Of course, I know that like the way the system works and how it's working right now and how it's being unfair to certain people in this country. It's all working the way that it was meant to work. Sadly, we have someone in office that is uplifting those policies and ideas, which isn't the greatest thing in the world. Back in 2016, when I just remember 2016 being an extremely sad year, not just because of who won the election that year, but just life in general was just not the greatest thing in the world. But here we are 4 years later and we're still stuck in the same shit that we were before. I'm just hoping and I'm just praying that people are sane and people know who they should vote for, or just vote in general. Honestly, like, I don't even necessarily care who you vote for, just vote. Not voting does more harm than good. I was personally a Bernie fan. I wanted Bernie to be president, but sadly, things just weren't working out the way that it should have been in both 2016 and in 2020. Of course, in 2016 I couldn't vote, but this year I can. Definitely gonna exercise my right to vote this year, which I'm so excited for. Not gonna lie, I wish the situations were different. Back in 2016, I was just like, I really hope 4 years from now, when I'm 19, that things will be different. It's honestly disappointing the way that this country has failed its citizens during this pandemic. Is just absolutely ridiculous to me. There's no reason, there's no excuse for the lack of action that this administration has shown. There's so many people that have sadly passed away that didn't have to pass away because of our administration's actions. And that's what pisses me off, honestly, the most, is that this country, built on a foundation of freedom.
Pause. Let me rephrase that. This country was built on slavery and genocide of millions of people, then tried to frame this country as freedom and liberty for all.
Exercising their right to freedom, or whatever people may say, and not wearing masks in public and just disregarding people's lives, and our administration showing no sense of taking action and being for the people just makes me so sad and so disappointed, because this country should be better. This country should do better. But sadly, we're not there yet. And I'm hoping that this election will take a turn, and I'm hoping we'll get some change, because if we don't, I don't know what's going to happen to this country. So vote. I'll put the link in the description below, or even here. Vote. See if you're registered to vote. If you're not registered to vote, register to vote. It's so easy. If you live in California, we're all going to be sent mail-in ballots, so there's nothing that you have to do. So register to vote, and when the time comes, vote. This one's a little bit streaky, and you can tell that it's streaky, but I kind of like the look of it. So I'm going to wait for both of these things to dry, and then once they're done, the yellow one, I'm going to put another coat on top and then see if that will do anything. If it doesn't, then I'll just let it dry and then just doodle on them, and then I'll put the plants in. Okay, so my pots have been dried up. This one is definitely better than the other one. My yellow one, I was being really impatient with it, and so I mean, it doesn't look bad on camera, but There's like a few spots that are like kind of messed up, but it's okay. For some odd reason, I decided to like put the top as like the opposite color for both of them. This one's a lot better because it reminds me of almost like an avocado, like the way that it looks, and I really like avocados. As of recently, I have been kind of feeling like I'm a failure in life a little bit. Of course I know I'm not. Like, of course logically I'm like, you know, I'm living life to the best of my ability, and it shouldn't be measured by what I'm doing at a certain age, because especially on social media it's definitely really easy to get caught up in the idea that you're not doing enough based on what you see, and just feeling like you're not enough and feeling like you have to be better and do better and hustle and work hard. It's so unrealistic to think that one size fits all and that we're not all different in the way that we decide to move in this earth and how we decide to go about things. I definitely think it's important to realize that your life is your life, not others. There's a reason why there's only you and not another you. If we were all supposed to follow each other at the same pace and at the same time, then we wouldn't really be different, you know? Like, there wouldn't be huge differences between human beings. Our thoughts would be the same, how we look would be the same. I'm definitely trying to not be as harsh on myself as I used to be. I think it's working. I still find myself feeling like I'm not doing enough, especially with school. I always feel like I should be getting assignments done 3 or 4 days before it's actually due, when, you know, not saying that it's unrealistic. If you do that, then like kudos to you, but for me it's not necessarily something that I want to do. Also, these circles are so horrendous. Like, I don't even know what these are. I might do something else with this, I don't know. I'm not an artiste whatsoever. I think some things that I've been doing recently in terms of my mental health is being grateful for the things I have and the way that I am. Even if it's just the quote-unquote small things, like I still give gratitude to that, because I think it's important to realize how meaningful the small steps in your life are, no matter how you see it. Those baby steps are like steps to bigger steps, and it's important to give yourself praise, and it's important to, like, you know, say, hey, you did that, good job. I'm not necessarily liking how this drawing is going, but I'm trying to enjoy the process, you know, instead of criticizing the way that it may look. I think having fun in the process is definitely more important than the outcome of the process. There we go. I am now finding a new technique of twirling the paintbrush instead of doing whatever the hell I was doing beforehand. But this one works a lot better. I wish I was doing this the first time, but again, enjoying the process. The amount of paint that I've got on my body today is just ridiculous, but also this can go into healing your inner child. If you don't know what your inner child is, it's basically your inner child that hasn't necessarily healed from its past wounds, and we've all been disconnected in one way or another with our inner child, because of when we get older we lose that sense of freedom, and we're more so taught to listen and follow instead of being free and wondrous. We sort of lose that when we get older. So I've been recently trying to tap in to my inner child. Painting is one way that I'm trying to do that. I'm happy that I'm doing this, because at times it feels very easy to be on a broken record doing the same exact thing every day and not really having like a fun day. So this is bringing definitely some peace of mind. So this is the finished product of just circles. Not that great, but let me stop hating on myself. This one's finished. Don't know if you guys can see the lines that I did. Stop. Again, nothing too fancy. Are y'all kind of annoyed with cancel culture? Because I am. I feel like there are some things I completely understand for a person to be canceled for. I don't necessarily think it does more harm than good, but I do definitely think there are situations where it gets too far. Not necessarily with celebrities, but just normal citizens, where like people will call the person's job, or they'll call like any sort of professional place that the person may work at and like maybe get that person fired, and just like it's just ridiculous. They'll either give information on where they live or their phone number, and if I'm not mistaken that's called doxing, which is pretty bad. Personally, for me, I don't really care regardless of if the person's racist or not. Giving out personal information on the internet about someone is just not the way to go, personally, for me. Because at the end of the day, that's still a person, their life being ruined, whether it's a teenager or an adult. I just don't think it's right. Now, of course, don't take this as like I support racist, because that's not the case at all. I just think that there's a right and wrong. And recently I've seen this situation, I might put it up on the screen, but this guy, he said something about Justin Bieber, and people got so offended with him that they started calling the restaurant that his parents work at and telling them how horrible of a person their son is, and the only way that they're even being able to stay in Sweden, I believe that's where he's living at, is because of that restaurant. And what people are doing is giving bad reviews to the restaurant because of a simple opinion this guy said. And it's just to the point where I just find it so ridiculous that people would literally jeopardize a person's livelihood because of some words on the internet. It's so interesting to me that people totally forget that these are human beings behind a screen. They don't even care. But yeah, that's my little 2 cents on that type of situation. Alright, this is the end result for the other one. I like the way that looks. Besides that one's kind of sucky, but I like it. It's pretty. It's pretty. I think we're just gonna wait for these to dry now, and then we can start the repotting process. So this is how my potted plants look in their new home. I'm so happy for them because this has been something that I've been meaning to do for a long time. I've been pushing it off, but I've finally given them a new home. I'm so excited to see how well they grow. Especially this one. This one has been having difficulty growing, so I'm hoping that this new home will give them more life. That is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed me talking and ranting and painting and just doing fun things, just trying to keep peaceful during these trying times. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want, subscribe. I make videos twice a week. Leave a comment on any other videos that you would like me to see, and until next time.